Assalamualaikum, selamat pagi, greetings everyone. Thank you for being here and to share this experience together with me. We'll talk about teaching in blended learning environments, okay? And as I said, I've uploaded the notes here in this link, right? Feel free to simply go to this link and download the notes in PDF format. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to clearly state that we only have 1 hour and I will not be able to cover much. Therefore, I would like to invite all of you to go to this MOOC platform. Okay. So for those who are new to MOOC, MOOC stands for Massive Open Online Course. It is an online course aimed at large-scale interactive participation and is open for all. So you will see when you get into MOOC.utm.my, there are courses offered for free and some you have to pay. Okay, so have a look at this. I've given you the link. You can simply sign up if you're new to it, okay, and log in, get into blended learning course. I've given the link as well, as you can see there on top of the image. So what will I cover today? I'll be talking about just briefly what is blended learning. Okay, define blended learning. I'll state the importance of blended learning. Okay, since most of you are academician, I believe. Okay, I'll share some research findings on blended learning. We will then look at the framework, models, which includes high quality blended learning criteria with some examples. Okay, but most importantly is number 4, a framework underpinning blended learning. Okay, that's very important. You need to understand this because I've seen some lecturer, they apply online learning, okay, and then they also apply face-to-face and they simply declare, oh, this is blended learning, ta-da, you know. It doesn't work that way. You need to understand the structure. So number 4 will explain that further. So what is blended learning, right? I've shared this content previously with other lecturers. So if you're interested to read what are their opinions, you can simply go to the link provided there. Okay, http://bit.do/blended. So you will see academician states, okay, their definition of blended learning. So you can do that as well. It's a Padlet platform. So you can just add your understanding of what is blended learning. And if you have questions, let's say I don't have enough time to answer it today, you can also simply post that questions on that Padlet platform, yeah? So have a look at the link. It's also in the notes. So what exactly is blended learning? If we have more time, I can just simply chit chat and ask your opinion. We can also discuss, but since we do not have that, allow me to just simply proceed. If you Google or watch YouTube, you'll find many definitions. However, we can clearly state that the key ingredients of blended learning are face-to-face and online instruction or learning. Okay, you see, let me emphasize here that there's the word of instruction. Okay, meaning there's involved learning process and approaches to learning. Okay, it's not simply just face-to-face online. Okay, you must remember there's the word of instruction. Okay, meaning there will be pedagogical approaches involved. It will come into place, and we shall discuss this further in next slides. Okay, and coming slides. And to those who are not from education, perhaps from engineering, you may not understand what is pedagogy or learning instruction. We'll talk more on this. But simply, if you look at it, it covers face-to-face and online instruction. Okay, exactly, that's blended learning. Okay, let's do some quiz. Just 2 questions, don't worry, it won't be much. Okay, let me ask you, is this blended learning? A teacher projects her lecture on a digital whiteboard while students take notes on laptops. So what do you think? Is this a blended learning? Well, false, not true. Okay, this is not blended learning. It's just the use of technology. Okay, it can only be blended learning when the teacher continues to discuss the answer in more depth, okay, followed by other related activities and assessment through online or in the classroom. Okay, So meaning we need an active interaction between teachers, students, or students. Okay, I've mentioned about pedagogy just now, so it linked to that. So blended learning require more than just the use of technology. Okay, it is an approach complete with teaching and learning method. Okay, you must understand this. Okay, next question. Is this blended learning? For homework, students watch a lecture on the Malaysia Independence Day. Tak lama lagi, Merdeka! Okay. So in class, students simulate the Japanese invasion of Malaya. Is this blended learning? Actually, this is blended learning. Okay. This kind of blended learning is called flipped classroom. Okay. Well, as you can see, there's no interaction, but the word says in class, students simulate the Japanese invasion of Malaya. So there are actually interaction of student doing role play, acting of how Japanese invade Malaya, So after they watch the lecture through online at home. So it is flipped. Okay, I'll explain more on flipped classroom after this. It's interesting. It's interesting how we actually interpret blended learning in different way, yet it brings different meaning. Okay. So in here, they are able to bring their understanding to the classroom and discuss further with their teachers, friends. The learning at home and in the classroom are interconnected. Okay. It's not like they watch a lecture on YouTube on some other topic. When they go to the classroom, they talk about different topic. They talk about the same topic. It's just that they do it online to hear lecture and do discussion activities of the same topic in the classroom. So it's flipped. When you look at this, if based on Malaysia e-learning policy or what we call Dasar e-learning negara, and you've encouraged to apply 30% to 80% of online learning, you're allowed to do so. And you have to merge it with traditional or on a classroom lecture, but you have to make sure it combine both and it must be interconnected. Okay. And in Japan also, they have stated that to apply minimum 30% online learning, you have to do the 1732. Okay, some of you may refer to UTM Lead website or your e-learning Moodle platform. We have stated that what is 1, what is 7, what is 3, and 2. So if you do 1732, one online course outline and 7 materials, if you manage to upload 7 notes or whatever teaching materials, and then you perform 3 sort of activities like forum, quiz, and then you also apply 2 sort of assessments, maybe quiz or tests online. It is accepted as 30% implementation of blended learning already. What is actually a framework underpinning blended learning? So when you say you want to apply blended learning, you must consider these 3 components, okay? The content, pedagogy, and technology. I do not think most of you have issue with content since you are the expert in the field. Okay, let's say you teach mathematics. So the content is that you teach mathematics, right? And then on the technology also, I'm not too concerned on this because we have so many technologies out there that we can use. A basic one would be social media like Facebook. A lot of us use Facebook, Moodle, and so forth. So on these 2 aspects on these 2 components, I'm not too worried. But on the pedagogical part, right? This is where you require to read first or do research, understand exactly what are pedagogy and mostly related to teaching and learning approach. You have to understand, let's say if you choose to apply problem-based learning, you need to understand the elements, okay, in problem-based learning. Right? I'll give example. If you choose to use project-based learning approach, okay, you must make sure to apply 8 or some of its elements, such as getting students to do research or investigation, and then you must provide students with complex questions. You let the students solve problems and face challenges. So those are some of the elements of project-based learning. And like I've said, you need to understand this part here properly, right? And again, what is the theoretical underpinning? These three components need to be applied together, okay, in blended learning, and they are all related to one another. Lots of technologies I've mentioned just now, okay. Choose technology based on your students and your preferences, okay. Normally I would do short survey before I start with the class. I'll ask them, what sort of platform they prefer to communicate in. So a short survey, they decided, and only I proceed with the chosen platform, yeah. But you cannot avoid from using the Moodle, of course, to support your learning, although you're using different other platforms. Okay, what is blended learning and why is it important? All right, I'm aware most of you, already know the importance of blended learning. If not, you wouldn't come to this course, okay? If you look at the Malaysia Education Blueprint, okay, it is aimed by 2025, 70% of our programs to use blended learning models. So let's say we have about 2,000 courses in UTM. So we are expected 1,400 courses already implement blended learning approach, okay, by 2025. But with the COVID pandemic, I believe that this wouldn't be an issue. I believe by now we'll achieve more than 70%, okay. This is why it is important. Also, look at the next generation. Now we have Generation Z, and then later Alpha generation. This kind of this generation, okay, they want to get connected. They are actually multitasking. Even my children, they already start playing games. Teacher in school already use Kahoot, and you name it. So many other softwares, yeah. So you can't just simply chalk and talk. You can't do chalk and talk traditionally. No, cannot. Okay, you have to evolve and apply. And one of the technique that we can start with is blended learning, of course. Okay, like I've said, most of you are academicians. So these are some of the research findings which you can refer to in relation to blended learning. So this one here, blended and flipped learning. Okay, case study in Malaysia higher education. This is quite interesting. You can learn about collaborative applying collaborative learning and blended learning. And some of them use Schoology. You can have a look. What are the issues with face-to-face and when combined with online? Okay, for this one, there are a lot of strategy and practice guide. So same goes with this one here. Okay. So have a look at this 3 book. Perhaps you can start with 3 books and then expand to other journals or other books. So this is actually, I find these 3 books quite useful. All right. So now, what blended learning looks like in a classroom. There you go. There's plenty of it here. Okay, techniques, more of how to apply blended learning in your classroom. There's so many techniques. Okay, I'm not going to explain in detail on each, but look at this one here. Down here, the link I've given, blendedlearning.org/model/. You can even watch a video on each of the model. Okay, they have explained further through video. You can just watch. You can apply station rotation, lab rotation, individual rotation, so many models you can apply, okay? There are differences a bit to suit your mode of teaching, okay? Have a look later, and some of them I might just discuss here. I like flex model because a student is given control of their own learning, and while teacher can just be on standby, for questions of guidelines, a lot of architecture students or lecturers apply this flex since they have a lot of project-based learning. Okay, like online and driver, they're a bit different. This one more of teacher deliver curriculum online, while this one more face-to-face. So the percentages actually are different between these two. While a la carte here, You can conduct fully online courses like a la carte. Normally in a school, you have maybe 2 lecturers. One is teaching one section, section O1, another one, section O2. Perhaps O1 conducted, the course fully online, while another one through traditional. So you allow them to simply jump from one class to another. They first class or 01 would learn fully online, but if they feel that they require some further explanation, they can simply go to class section 02 traditional ways, to get some clarification. So yeah, these are some of the technique. Okay, more on station rotation. All right, station rotation here. Students are divided into groups that works in different station. So you set station 1, station 2, station 3. Okay, you can do that. One station, maybe students are doing research here, okay, on computer, right? While the other, another station, they are doing brainstorming, discussion between them. While the third station, okay, all the students are listening to the lecture, okay? So they can move from one station to another, okay? And it's quite flexible, as you can see there. Normally, teachers have to identify the strength of their students. They will need to do a bit sort of a survey, perhaps, are they more analytical? Okay, what sort of student they are? And you can divide them into groups and assign accordingly. Yep. How come it doesn't move? Okay. This is an example of how you can do station rotation chart. You as a teacher may want to assign student working in this setting. Like student have to switch station based on time schedule set by you, yeah? As you can see here, group 1, maybe 9 to 9:30, they have to perform research online through the computer, while at this hour, then only they start to discuss and finally listen to your lecture. Another group will do a different station. They might not start with the research, but instead listen to lecture and so forth. Okay, so this is just an example of the flexibility you can provide to the student with a station rotation technique. If you want to apply lab rotation, right, you may want to use this if you are not teaching in a classroom with computers, okay? Those like in big halls in N24, if I'm not mistaken, right? You may want to use this technique where you can assign after listening to lecture, they go to labs, after they perform research or whatever needed, they can just come back to the classroom and discuss further. So it is still interconnected here, right? And flipped classroom, just now, right? There's the quiz question about flipped classroom. So flipped classroom is that what's been done traditionally in classroom is now done at home. You just flip, okay? If student used to listen to your lecture in the classroom, this time you allow them to just listen to your lecture, perhaps through video you have recorded earlier, you upload in YouTube, and you let them listen to lecture at home, okay? Where they can simply drink coffee, relax while listening to your lecture through YouTube, for example, yeah? So you may want to start with flipped classroom. It's interesting, okay? So what's been done traditionally for homework is now done in the classroom. If previously you gave them homework, they do it at home. This time they have to bring the homework. They have to discuss further with their friends, peers, teachers in the classroom. So it's flipped. Okay, those are a bit about models of blended learning and technique where you can apply. Now let's talk about high quality blended learning. It's okay for you to apply those techniques, but if you wish to apply a more higher quality blended learning, there are things to consider. Okay, what is it? All right. So these 4 points, okay, you need to create great experience for your student if you want to apply high quality. So these 4 elements are important to consider, okay? And it is recognized as high quality blended learning. We have student ownership, personalized learning, mastery-based education, and relationship. Kan? Okay, that part's quite important, relationship. Right, what is it? Now, if you want to promote student agency, okay, you need to let them set their own learning goals with minimum guidance. That's why you need to provide this element in your teaching process, right? You need to train them to become independent learner. I'm not concerned with postgraduate students, mostly like undergraduates. You need to actually read a bit on how to give the student agency. They will require time for it, okay? So, and then another point, another important element is actually a personalized learning, okay? I mean, it is a different setting. To personalize learning, okay? If you, for example, if you have like 14 topic, you must allow them to choose whichever topic they want to start with first, okay? They might not start with topic 1, okay? They can jump simply to topic 4 or 5, meaning they set their own pace of learning, okay? You must allow that to happen. Sometimes students, they already know the basic knowledge, they do not wish to learn that anymore. They can simply go to the next levels, yeah? You must allow that. And then the third element is actually mastery-based education, okay? So you recognize their achievement and improvement, okay? Students are able to move on the next level when they are mastered certain thing. They already mastered certain thing. So they can tell if they are making progress or not. So these kind of elements also need to be in the learning process. And finally, the fourth element is relationships, okay? You need to offer them support and build professional relationship with students. Relationship between teacher and students, senior students and juniors, expert and the students, for example. So you need to provide a platform for this to happen. It doesn't matter, maybe you want to use Facebook, you want to use perhaps Moodle e-learning platform, you can do that, but you must have this platform where they can reach assistance or help, okay, from their peers, perhaps you yourself, other teachers, okay. In my case, I open up, okay, if they wish not to refer to me, we have 3 other lecturers who teach the same course. They can simply reach those lecturers, okay. Okay, now where to start? I've explained about a blended learning model or techniques just now. So a bit on how to apply high quality blended learning. So where to start? Normally, I would start with a hypothesis of a problem you have and you think blended learning can help you solve. Okay. And you must ask yourself, what do you want your student to experience or learn? In my case, okay, my hypothesis would be, I believe that expert designer in the industry, okay, able to transfer valuable knowledge to my students. That is my belief. Okay, so what I want is that for my students to learn from the industry, because as a lecturer who's, caught, not really to say caught, but who's in the university, I hardly have first-hand experience or up-to-date experience in the industry. So I would want my student to have that kind of knowledge and directly from them or from the experts. Okay, that's what I want, right? So you see, I start with the hypothesis first, okay? And one thing that you should be aware of is to prepare yourself. Okay, some lecturers, they are not fully prepared. So when they apply blended learning, there might be, some turn into disaster. Some would have problems then here, okay? But as a teacher who wants to apply blended learning, you need to tell yourself to shift your role from lecturer to facilitator, okay? Using fixed grouping to dynamic. For example, you provide one task, okay, or assignment, but you allow different method for every student to solve the task or problem given, okay? And then from focusing on only content to focusing on building skills and mindsets, okay, it's a different kind of teaching and learning process, more of 21st century process, okay? So prepare yourself for this first. And then as for the students, okay, the challenge would be to train them to manage their own learning. This is where I mentioned just now, you need to provide a platform for assistance, okay? provide support perhaps at the beginning, okay, of the learning process, and you need to gradually let go of them, okay, so that they can learn by their own. Okay. Okay, normally I will tell my student, look, I'm going to apply problem-based learning in my classroom. Okay, you will have to do a lot of self-learning, just to avoid them thinking that you're just lazy, you don't want to conduct any teaching and learning process. But you tell them that this is blended learning, this is problem-solving technique. Okay, what you're going to experience is this. So be clear with them from the beginning of the course. Yeah. Right. I'm going to share my experience. Okay. As I've mentioned earlier about the theoretical underpinning blended learning, there are 3 components here. So let's say I teach media design. Okay. That's my content. And then I use a lot of Facebook, okay, the technology that I'm using. And the pedagogical part that I use is called social. Okay, as a lecturer or academician, you can become innovative at this here in the pedagogical part. Okay, boleh jadi creative, innovative at this here, component here, okay? Therefore, I try to explore of combining not only one teaching and learning approach, but 2, I combine cognitive and social apprenticeship approach in my teaching, okay? So now when you combine and based on the blended learning theoretical framework, I teach media design using social approach supported by Facebook here. Okay, like I've said, I did survey before I choose Facebook. Okay, I asked the students and designers. There's about a lot of designers who participated in this teaching and learning process. All of them state they prefer to use Facebook, okay, for communication. So now, before I start, I ask these questions to myself. Okay, and you should ask this question to yourself as well. What do you want your student to learn? Okay. Like me, I want them to learn from the expert, okay, in the industry. And what is my hypothesis? I believe expert able to transfer valuable knowledge to student. And you must recognize the challenges, okay? It's not easy to get expert participation, believe me, okay? In the beginning of process, yeah, maybe, but throughout the learning process, it's going to be a challenge. So you recognize this challenge and you must be prepared for solution, okay? And then what is the most suitable? Okay, this part here where you have to seek, read, okay, and decide on certain learning approach that will be suitable for you, okay, and what you want to achieve. And finally, you can decide which blended learning model you're going to use. Okay, in my case, I use a lot of face-to-face driver and flex model. So again, friendly reminder, you need to have clear understanding of the chosen teaching and learning approach, okay? I emphasize this again and again. Okay, this is the boring part for you, maybe for you, but for most of us in the social sciences, this is actually an innovation, okay? So this is where I combine not just one, okay, 2 models, teaching and learning approach models, the cognitive and social apprenticeship. So, I mean, both of them actually complement each other. There are weakness and strength of each model, but when you combine them, you'll find them actually very useful. Okay, this is how I combine the model. And this is how I start to design the learning process. Okay, so for example, I've given into 3 phases. Okay, phase 1 maybe covering week 1 and 2. Phase 2, 3 and 5th weeks, okay, 3rd and 5th weeks, and then phase 3 until 7 weeks, right? So what sort of blended learning model I apply? First phase, perhaps just face-to-face and driver model I combine, okay? What are the topics covered? Those are the topic, for example. And what are the tasks given? I've already arranged it there. And what sort of high quality blended learning elements that are going to happen here? I integrate the relationship, the personalized learning at this phase, okay? And these are the component of social, okay, the teaching and learning approach I've chosen, okay? So this is how I design and plan for how for blended learning class to happen, okay, you may want to use this table. I will share with you the Word document file in a while, so you can just try out. So in this teaching and learning process, I involve 13 designers. They are all my friends. They are still working in the industry with more than 10 years experience. Some of them work with top advertising agencies, so I involve 57 third year undergraduate students, which I divided into 15 groups. They join Facebook, closed Facebook, just to protect the confidentiality. So closed Facebook, and myself as the lecturer. So students can simply post question, post their design, in each of their albums. They created album for each group, okay? So a designer, all these 13 designers, some of them in Australia, Penang, and all over. So they can simply give comment, critiques on the design posted by the students. This is where the personalized learning happens. Like I've said just now, the high quality blended learning, one of the components is personalized learning. So you provide a platform for them to reach you as the lecturer for support, reach the designer, they also able to communicate with their friends, seek guide from their seniors. There are some seniors from previous semester also join this group. Okay, so they are able to personalize their learning. Okay, this is how it looks like for other elements of high quality. I've given like 3 sections. They were able to submit their assignment on design at 3 phases. Okay, first submission, they posted in the album, okay, in their own album group. So the designer, myself, their friends, their seniors able to give review, comment on their first design. So once they done that, they have to make improvement. And then I've set a second week for them to post their second design, so they posted after making improvement. Again, I've given their chance to further make improvement. They will again receive critiques from the designers, and then finally the third week, they will submit their final design. So this is actually, if you talk about blended learning, high quality approach, this is what we call mastery based education. Okay. And then relationship still happening here, right? Where they are able to communicate with me, with their friends and designers. And how do they own their own learning? Because finally at the third submission here, they have to make improvement, okay, and then at the end of the course, student will explain what they have learned, okay. They have to state their strengths and weaknesses, okay. When they do reflection, they feel the ownership of learning. So ownership happens at the third submission of their assignment. We do not have designers who works in the industry. We have those who do part-time works, but that's for me, like I said, my hypothesis just now, right? I want somebody in the industry. So this is where I use my connection, get them in a group, like in a Facebook or any platform they preferred. And you can ask help from them. I asked help from my friends, actually. I was a designer before, right? So they're all willing to help for the sake of education, which is great. But of course, you have to prepare what you call the procedure of them signing letter, agree to the condition you have stated. Means they have to participate from the beginning till the end. There are process of doing that. So from what I've did just now, okay, with the blended learning techniques, with the teaching and learning process that I've done, I did some study. At least you as the academician, you can produce paper out of it, you see. So the part of pedagogical part just now I showed, the component of pedagogy, that is where you can do innovation, okay. And from there also you can produce journals, okay. So in my case, these are some of my findings, not all. So I found that having more than one instructor or tutor can be an important factor in design learning, certainly. So students do not just learn from me and me only, they can refer to the expert from the industry. So their understanding are widened as compared to traditional class, yeah. And also, I found that if effective and confrontational roles played by the tutor and the designer were found to be crucial in encouraging dialogue for design improvement. It helps my students to become more creative and critical. You see, like our parents, right? They played the role of good cop, bad cop, yeah. So these roles are actually very useful. Okay, some students, they like to be challenged. And through this experience, there's two groups who cried, when they get critiques from the designer. So this is where my effective role comes in, playing the role as a good cop. I try to assist them, and it's a good experience for the student overall. Yep. So now, finally, what I'm trying to say is that you are the chef. Okay, nobody can tell you what to do. You are the chef. You can always choose what sort of teaching and learning approach you want to apply, and to make it higher quality. Okay, please apply these 4 elements. Okay, student ownership, personalized learning, mastery-based education, and relationship, right, in your teaching and learning process. So again, you are the chef. You do the design framework for your classroom, okay? So I've shared with you this link here, https://bit.ly/32 caps LGGP and small caps A. Okay, so use this link. I've shared with you the Word document.